I have the decoder that we're going to be using in our installation in this SW1500 from Microtrains clamped, and I am going to remove the wires that we do not need. I had to take off the protective heat shrink in order to give me that tight, to give me the space to put the decoder in, and we'll have to insulate the decoder from the frame once we're ready to do that. But we're not going to be using the aux 2, which would be the purple wire, so I'm going to remove that. Okay, we're not going to, I'm going to flip this over now, and we're not going to use the orange and gray wires of the decoder because we have them coming up from the motor. Because this locomotive is just so small, I don't want to make the connections with heat shrink or anything within the body. So we're going to make the connections directly to the decoder. We're also going to make the connections directly from the blue, so I will remove the blue wire. And the rear light, which would be the yellow. And the white light, which would be the, the white wire, which would be the front light. So we've removed the wires that we're going to make direct connection to the decoder, so we've prepared it. And that way we minimize the amount of connections that are going to be made within the shell. This is a very tight fit in this locomotive. It is very small. So I will show you that once the decoder is affixed to the frame. And that will be next. Okay, what I've done is I've mounted the decoder on our frame. Notice how the decoder sits on its slope, and it sits right on top of the motor brush housing that we modified slightly before during our motor assembly. You'll notice that it sits off the back of the frame a little bit, and I have insulated underneath the decoder, because we did have to take the heat shrink off the decoder. I did insulate under the decoder with some Kapton tape, both this way as well as forward to back, so that way it's got plenty of insulation there. The Kapton tape is great because it's very, very thin and very durable. I've also gone ahead and tinned all my wires. I have my orange and gray wire from the motor, my red and black wire, and I have my speaker wires and my green wire, which I'll connect up to the strobe light. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start my process of installing the wires, and then I will come back and show you how that's progressing later. Thank you. I've connected the main wires to the decoder. I have my orange-gray wire connected. I've also connected the two brown wires from the decoder to the speaker. But I wanted to show you a little trick that we've learned with this locomotive. It's an easy way to make your red and black connections to the frame. Again, the red connection is going to be away from me, and the black connection is going to be towards me. The front of the locomotive is this way, and the rear is this way. So what we did is I took one of the discarded motor brush connections that we took off earlier, and I'm going to cut this in half with a scissors. Just basically slice it in half. And I'm going to use a half on one side and a half on the other. So what we'll do is we'll take it, I'm going to bend it a little bit, just slightly. Bend both of them. Okay, so that it gives me a good connection. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to slide it between the motor and the tape. So you don't want to pinch the orange wire when you do this, but we're just going to bring it down like this. All right. So that will then give me a connection to the frame. I'm then going to take it and I'm going to fold a little tab. Here, I'll show you this. There's a little tab here. Okay, see if you can see that. All right, little tab. I'm going to fold that tab over the top of the motor mount. All right, so we'll get that there. We'll push it down. It'll give us a nice connection, and we'll bring it underneath and then around the motor mount. All right, and that will provide us with our red connection on this side, and on this side it'll provide us with our black connection. Okay, let's get that down. All right, we'll take it and fold it around the top of the motor mount. Now, when you connect this, you don't want to overheat these tabs, because you'll break the motor, you'll melt the motor mount, because the motor mount, of course, is plastic. But it's a nice way to do it. You don't have to drill the frame. You don't have to tap it. It will give you ample connection for your red and black wires. So what we'll do is we'll take the red wire. I'll take a little bit of, in this case, a little bit of my soldering flux to make the solder flow quick and cool. All right, we'll put a little solder on the tip. Again, the wires have already been tinned. All right, we'll do that. So there's my first connection. All right, and I'll make the black connection here. And once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and connect up the lighting wires, and that will pretty much take care of the decoder installation on this locomotive. We'll put the shell on, and then we can test it, and you'll see that we have sound in an SW1500 and N scale. So I'll show you in a few minutes. So we've got our locomotive wired, have all the lights going, and now I'm going to try it for the first time to test the to make sure that there are no issues. I have my power supply set at a low voltage of about 8 volts, so that's enough just to kick the decoder in. And I'll try it going forward first, which would be the red down and the black up. So here we go. Oh, there we go. So the motor is spinning and my front light is on, my rear light is off. Let's reverse that. Okay. Alright, the motor is spinning and my rear light is on and my front light is off. That's a good indication that everything is fine and there are no shorts and the decoder is wired in properly. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble the rest of the locomotive, put the handrails back on, any other little pieces that need to be put back together. And we'll see if we can get it onto the layout later on today, and I'll take a shot of it going around.